Stocks on Wall Street end the trading session higher for the third straight day. The Dow closes more than 650 points higher, posting a three-day winning streak as hopes for a December rate cut grow. Asian markets have opened higher, tracking gains on Wall Street. The GIFT Nifty is also indicating a gap up start for our own markets. Crude prices fall as Ukraine signals support for the framework of a Russia peace deal. Gold prices also slip on the likely prospects of the war ending in Russia. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he is ready to advance a US-backed framework for ending the war with Russia. He will discuss disputed points with the US President in talks that would also include European allies. And Bharti Airtel's promoter entity, Indian Continent Investment, has launched a block deal valued at over 7,000 crore rupees. The shares are priced at a floor price of 2096, which is a 3% discount to yesterday's close. It's midweek trading, but it is the start of a brand new series. You're watching Power Breakfast right here on CNBC TV 18 in the Mumbai News Center. I'm Hormus Fatakia. Let's first take a look at how the Asian markets have started off today, and continuing from where they left off yesterday and continuing from where Wall Street left off overnight as well. It's a green looking screen across the Asia Pacific. Every single benchmark index trading with gains. The Hang Seng 0.8% higher. The Taiwanese index gaining 1.5%. Gains also coming from the Nikkei in Japan. That's up 2%. The outperforming Kospi is also up 2% in South Korea as well. The only outlier, though, is the Shanghai Composite in China, where the index is trading absolutely at the flat line. But other than that, all of the indices across the Asia Pacific are trading with very healthy gains, considering the rally overnight on Wall Street. Pull up the GIFT Nifty as well, and looking by the implied open, it's a 106-point gap up is what the implied open is currently suggesting, indicating that the December series is set to begin on a positive note for the benchmark indices. But to set you up for today's trading session, our research team is here with the trade setup, the stocks that should be on your radar, and of course the setup on the F&O side of things as well. Firstly, Ekta joins in to get all the market cues we need to watch out for today. Ekta, good morning. It's a 3-day jinx on the last hour for the benchmark indices, but what are some of the other important cues you're watching out for today?
Well, like you said, Hormuz, good morning. The markets did lose ground for 3 consecutive sessions. The last hour fall dragged the Nifty below 25,900, and the mid-cap index was in focus along with the Nifty Bank as well. What also stood out was the rupee, because it has been showing weakness, but yesterday it closed nearly flat with the rupee ending at around 89.22. Now, the FIIs did sell much less than what they have been selling in the past couple of trading sessions, and there was quite a hefty DII buy figure which came through yesterday. Now, in terms of the setup today, the US markets are higher, Asia is higher on hopes of a possible Fed rate cut increasing, and we have the GIFT Nifty, like you mentioned, showing a positive start. So let's see whether that sustains and whether we manage to climb back to levels of around 26,100, which is one of the levels that we could not sustain earlier this week. Now, in terms of cues, we have the GDP growth rate, personal income and personal spending data coming in from the US. Back home, we have the FM pre-budget consultation meeting, which would be something to watch out for. Infosys, their 18,000 crore share buyback window will be closing today, and we have a listing from Excel Technologies, which was subscribed around 45 times, 500 crore IPO, but nonetheless will be interesting to see.
Ekta, thank you for that update. Over to Sudarshan now, who list out the stocks that should be on your radar today. Sudarshan, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning, Hormuz. So I'll start with Bharti Airtel, a Nifty stock which is expected to see another block deal in 3 weeks, and this time promoter Indian Continental Investment is likely to sell around 0.6% equity, and that is worth almost 7,100 crore. Last time on November 7, we had seen that Singtel had sold shares via block deals, and that block deal was of more than rupees 10,000 crore. Indian Overseas Bank, keep an eye out because it has got the positive order from Income Tax Department. It's the tax refund order of more than rupees 830 crore. Zydus Life has got final US FDA approval for verapamil hydrochloride tablets that basically reduces the high blood pressure, and total annual sales in the US of this drug was of more than $24.5 million. NCC has got order of more than rupees 2,000 crore from Assam government. It's for the expansion of Guwahati Medical College and Hospital. Welspun Corp has filed claim up to $43.5 million, and this is against Vasco Coatings, with which company had signed JV agreement in 2015, and now Welspun Corp is saying that that company had violated the agreement, and against that it has moved arbitral tribunal in London. NTPC Green 1 year shareholder lock-in for this company ends today, and as per reports, we believe that more than 55,000 crore shares, rupees 55,000 crore shares will open up for trades. Ask Auto promoter has sold almost 4% equity via block deals to meet minimum public shareholding norms. An entire 78.6 lakh shares have been bought by SBI Mutual Fund. Last one, HEG, that stock has been in the focus for the last few sessions, and we understand via block deal data that promoter has bought more than 6.7 lakh shares, and that was 0.3% equity.
Interesting, and the stock was duly higher as well in yesterday's trading session for HEG, and of course NTPC Green. That should be on your radar as the shareholder lock-in is ending today, and the stock at around 95 rupees is trading well below its IPO price of 108 and even below its post-listing high, which is 155. But Sudarshan is still with us. He'll now tell you what you should expect on the FNO side of things as it is the start of a brand new series. Sudarshan.
It's a start to December series, and as you have been talking for the last 3 days, we have been seeing a sharp fall in the last hour. And yesterday also we have seen the sharp fall, and because of that Nifty slipped below 25,900. But good part was that Nifty managed to hold the levels above 20 DMA, that is 20-day moving average of 25,815. And for today, the good part is global cues are positive. We have seen a big move in all the 3 major indices, mainly on the back of positive talks that we are hearing about Russia and Ukraine. Now, also another good part is that in November series, when we had started November series, FI was short, heavily shorted. Longs exposure was around 7%. This time also it has increased a bit, but again FIs remain heavily shorted. So if any positive news comes, then we might see a huge short covering. So let's take a look how the previous few November series panned out. In 25, this time we have seen a fall of 0.2%. In 2024, again there was a fall of 1.2%. But in 2023 and 2022, we had seen a sharp move up in the range of 4 to 7%. But what about December series? Last time we had seen a fall of almost 1%, but in 2023 it was an up move of almost 8%. But in 22 and 21, there was a down move in the range of 1.4 to 1.9%. As I told you, FIs remain heavily shorted, so longs exposure remains at the start of the series around 15%. On the short side, 85%. On the options data, we have seen 26,000 call and 26,200 calls were the most active ones, where the increase in the open interest was in the range of 26 to 41 lakh shares. And on the put side also, 26,000, 25,900 were the active ones. Support, first support, I keep it immediate support will be 25,850, that is 20-day moving average. Next support comes around 25,500. Resistance remains around 26,250. Some of the cues that I'll keep an eye for December says, first one, India-US trade talks, if there is any positive outcome on that. Russia-Ukraine deal talks have been ongoing. Parliament update, winter session of Parliament starts on December 1, and there is an expectation of something coming out, especially especially on insurance. And last one is SEBI board meet is also on December series. Apart from this, FOMC and RBI MPC will also be holding meeting in December.
There's a lot to track in the December series, Sudarshan. Thank you for that. Take a short break, get you all the developments from the White House in our special segment Trump Watch on the other side. Welcome back. On to action from Wall Street. Then the indices ended higher for the third straight session as expectations of a rate cut by the US Federal Reserve sparked a rally. The Dow surged over 1.5%, gaining 650 points. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq also recovered from the lows of the day to end higher. Alphabet was among the top gainers, gaining around 1.5% and surging to new record highs after the information reported, citing sources that Meta was considering spending billions of dollars on the Google parents' AI chips. Now, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expects President Donald Trump to make a decision on the new Fed chair before Christmas. In a CNBC exclusive, he said that there is one more interview to go, and he was not ready to speculate as to who might get the job.
Talking to these candidates, I realized the Fed has become this very complicated operation. It's no longer just a price setting of money. There's this very complicated calculus between the monetary policy, the balance sheet, and regulatory policy. And we've really emphasized in the interviews, what's the interplay for that calculus in terms of the best way forward for the American economy, and what is each person's point of view in terms of protecting the American people, protecting the economy, and moving forward with the dual mandate.
Can you give us a hint? We often talk about the two Kevins, Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett, being the front runners. Is that still the case?
Andrew, I'm still got one interview left, so I don't think it would be prudent to give any hints. And I think that there's very, very good chance that the president will make an announcement before Christmas. But it's his prerogative whether it's before the Christmas holidays in the New Year's. But things are moving along very well.
The Treasury Secretary also spoke about the 30-minute phone call between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, saying that the US and China will always be natural rivals, but the two countries' relationship is in a good place.
President Trump initiated the call 30 days after the historic meeting in Busan, South Korea, between the two leaders. They have a great relationship. And as far as the soybeans, the Chinese are right on schedule in terms of the cadence of their purchases. Over the next 3.5 years, we're going to see the 87.5 million metric tons purchased by the Chinese, minimum, and they are right on schedule. U.S. position on Taiwan is unchanged, and on Ukraine, President and Party Chair Xi agreed that the peace in this Ukraine conflict, they must move forward, and they agreed to work together on it. President Trump showing leadership that sort of calm things down between the two countries. And look, we're always going to be rivals. We're always going to be rivals. That's natural. But are there things we can do together? Yes. We have the relationship in a good place. President Trump is going to do a state visit to Beijing. Xi is going to come to the U.S. for a state visit. He'll also be in the U.S. for the G20 at Doral, and President Trump may attend the APEC summit in Shenzhen in November. So if there are 4 meetings during the year, I think that gives the relationship great stability, and stability is good for the American people and good for the world economy.
Back to the markets then. Paul Christopher of Wells Fargo Investment Institute says that he's a big believer in the AI trade. Listen.
We think there are years left to go as AI and other technology developments continue to evolve. Cybersecurity would be one. Digital assets would be another one. We already have some automation in the economy. We think that expands quite a bit more. And artificial intelligence could be an adjunct, could be a helper for all of these other technologies, in addition to standing alone by itself in helping people in their daily lives. So we think there's further trend to go. We're still in the early innings. But because we're in the early innings, there's a likely tendency for markets to get a little bit extended at times.
And on to our special segment, Trump Watch. Winnie is here to tell us more on the latest Donald Trump-related developments. Winnie.
Hi, good morning, Horma. So starting with the top headlines, President Donald Trump has announced that a deal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine is getting very close over the past week. His administration refined the original 28-point peace plan with input from both sides. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
I've also ended 8 wars in 9 months, and we're working on that final war. It's not easy, but I don't know. I think we're going to get there. 25,000 soldiers, Ukraine, Russia, In the last month, 25,000 soldiers have died. So I think we're getting very close to a deal. We'll find out. I thought that one would have been gone quicker. We did 8. I thought that would have been an easier one, but I think we're making progress.
However, a few points of disagreement still remain, and Trump has now sent his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, to meet with President Putin in Moscow. At the same time, the Army Secretary will be meeting the Ukrainian officials. Now, Trump will be briefed on the progress by the Vice President, Secretary of the State, the Secretary of the War, and the White House Chief of Staff as well. The President had said and has said that he looks forward to meeting with both the President Zelensky, as well as President Putin, but only once the deal is finalized. Now, the US President also emphasized that the plan which was drafted by them is not his final offer, and that negotiations are still ongoing between the Ukrainian officials, and have also expressed cautious support for the framework, though they said, the Ukrainian officials, that the sensitive issues remain unresolved as of now. Now, Ukrainian President Zelensky says that the principles in the document could be developed into deeper agreements, and they count on the continued active cooperation with the American side. He added that that all of this, in terms of the deal, much of that depends on the United States, because it's America's strength that Russia takes most seriously. He also thanked and also said that all those who stood with Ukraine were important to them as well. So that is an update that is coming there. Now, other than that, we also have in other headlines, Kevin Hassett, that said that the White House that maybe he is actually one of those National Economic Council directors, is emerging as the front runner to become the next Federal Reserve Chair. Now, this is all according to the Bloomberg reports. And lastly, we also had some top headlines that came in that White House has denied reports that President Trump is considering removing the FBI Director Kash Patel, calling the story completely made up. And a photo of Trump and Patel together at the Thanksgiving turkey pardoning was shared to reinforce this denial. That's all that we have in terms of the White House as well as Trump-related update today. Back to you, Hormas.
Vinny, thank you for those updates there. Take a short break, get you cues from the commodities market on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and Manisha Gupta now joins in with all the updates from the commodity space. Manisha, good morning. There's a lot happening across the globe. What is that impacting commodities?
Oh, well, yes. First of all, Hormuz, it is the U.S. data, weaker than expected, really, whether it was about the retail sales, the PPI numbers were in line, and the private labor data also saw a bit of a decline. So the U.S. data that is coming in is clearly not so supportive. And that tells you that markets are assigning a higher probability now of 25 basis point rate cut for the month of December. That has led to some support coming back for the metal prices. So copper is trading at a 2-week highs. Aluminum has rebounded from a 1-month lows. Iron ore prices are trading at a 3-week highs, and we have seen various industrial agriculture commodities start to do well as well. So whether it's palm, it's cotton, that one is trading at a multi-week highs as well. The only thing that is not towing that line is the crude oil prices. That is trading at a 5-week lows. You have gasoline, heating oil prices trading at a 1-month lows. This is after the U.S. president's statement that negotiations are near complete for Russia-Ukraine peace agreement, and the potential resolution could lift sanctions on Russia, bringing more oil to the international market, which is already looking at a surplus for 2026, is what's weighing onto that space. Having said that, there is a third quarter GDP numbers coming in from U.S. today, and much more data also expected out of U.S. That is where the street will keep an eye on.
Manisha, thank you for all those updates there. Moving on to some updates from back home. The thick cloud of ash from Haley-Gabbi volcanic eruption, which swept across Delhi, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab and other parts of the country, has completely exited India, according to the IMD. Airlines like Indigo, Air India and Akasa Air have assured passengers that safety remains their top priority following the eruption. Meanwhile, the air quality in the national capital remains at hazardous levels. AQI levels are currently around 306, which is the highest level of severity in the scale. Concerns also arose over whether the volcanic ash from Ethiopia could worsen the air quality levels. However, the IMD has stated that the ash clouds have passed India and were now drifting towards China. And before we call time on this edition of Power Breakfast, just pull up the GIFT Nifty, still holding on to gains of around about 110 points. So it is anticipated to be a positive start for the December series. Remember that last hour jinx over the last 3 sessions has been dragging the markets lower, and the Nifty now currently stands at that very important 20-day moving average level. But with that, we call time on this edition of Power Breakfast. From me and the team, thank you for watching. Bazaar Morning Call sets you up for trade on the other side.